If you enjoy an aggressive, fast-paced combat style, you're going to love this Dual Blades build. I've been playing Dual Blades since day one, and they've consistently delivered. This setup dominates both PvP and PvE, with the potential to unleash insane burst damage while maintaining extremely high mobility. If your Dual Blades aren't hitting hard right now, it's not the weapon's fault. It simply means they aren't optimized or being used correctly. In this video, I'll show you how to deal devastating burst damage with Dual Blades, the best combos to master, and the inner ways and gear you need to truly bring this weapon to life. Dual Blades become especially lethal when enemies are exhausted or low on chi, and that's where this build really shines. Alright then, let's dive straight in. At the core of this build is the Infernal Twinblades martial arts. You can obtain it through the Melodies of Peace quest, via skill theft, or by joining the Midnight Blades sect. If you're going with the skill theft, travel to the Midnight Mercy Sanctum, located east of Crimson Cliff. With Infernal Twinblades, you'll be relying on light attacks around 70% of the time. These attacks generate Blazing Wrath, which fills your burst skill, Flame Lash. This burst skill is the primary damage source of the martial art. Once your Karmic Flame meter is full, you activate Flame Lash by pressing the heavy attack. During this burst mode, you gain Fortitude, your light attacks transform into Celestial Fury. You leech a small amount of health with every hit, your critical rate increases by 10%, and your critical damage bonus increases by 20%. When used at the right moment, this skill absolutely melts enemies, and I'll explain exactly when to use it later in the video. There's also a hidden combo during this burst mode that's difficult to time, but extremely rewarding if you can pull it off. During Flame Lash, you can perform up to 5 consecutive attacks. After the final strike, if you perfectly time the next attack, you enter the Verdict state, which allows you to start your combo directly from the third hit. This matters because the third, fourth, and fifth stages of Flame Lash's light attacks deal significantly more damage. Moving on to the martial arts skill, Addled Mind. This is a long-range spinning dash attack that works perfectly as a gap closer or as an interrupt against enemy combos. You can store up to 3 charges of it, and each charge takes 15 seconds to recharge. This skill becomes even stronger when paired with your special skill, Calamity's Greed. This ability kicks the long blade into the air, causing it to spin and repeatedly strike enemies, and it has 2 distinct variations, both of which are useful. In the first variation, after activating the skill, you press it again while the blade is spinning in the air to perform a horizontal slash that can interrupt enemies. In the second variation, after retrieving the spinning blade, press the skill again to perform 2 slashes instead of 1. This second variation deals the highest damage of the 2, and on top of that, it reduces the cooldown of Addled Mind by 3 seconds, which is honestly incredible. Infernal Twinblades also comes with a perfect dodge enhancement. Perfect dodges are very easy to trigger with this setup, and when you successfully land one, you gain the breath hold effect and instantly reset the cooldown of Addled Mind. This effect can trigger once every 30 seconds. To push Infernal Twinblades into truly broken territory, you need its Inner Way, Echoes of Oblivion. You obtain this automatically by completing the main story of the first region, so it's impossible to miss. At its base level, Echoes of Oblivion allows your normal light attacks to apply Sin, and your burst skill light attacks to apply Karma. When attacking enemies affected by both Sin and Karma, you ignore 10% of their physical defense and 10% of their bamboo cut resistance, which is already massive for damage output. At Tier 1, you gain Samsara whenever both Sin and Karma are active on a target at the same time. While Samsara is active, you deal 5% more HP damage. At Tier 3, you gain Samsara whenever you perform a perfect dodge, which makes this buff far easier to maintain and significantly increases your overall damage output. Tier 4 makes Samsara even stronger by granting 1 Karmic Flame whenever you deal damage while it's active, effectively extending the duration of your burst skill. Now let's talk about your damage amplifier weapon, the Mortal Rope Dart. You can obtain it by joining the 9 Mortal Ways sect or through skill theft. For skill theft, head west of Southgate Avenue in Kaifeng City. You'll need to complete a few smaller NPC quests involving disguises as part of the process, but nothing too complicated. Its special skill, Rodent Rampage, consumes 1 token of gratitude to summon a rat that fights alongside you. Whenever you perform a light attack, the rat attacks as well. This effect lasts 10 seconds and remains active even after switching weapons, which is crucial for this build. The martial arts skill, Bladebound Thread, is a two-part combo. If it hits, you pull the enemy towards you, and pressing the skill again knocks them down. Against bosses, you're pulled toward the target instead, but you can still knock them down. Using the skill applies a Vendetta token to the enemy, causing them to take 50% more damage from rats. It also applies Bone Corrosion debuff for 5 seconds. While this debuff is active, you deal 40% more key damage. You can further enhance Rodent Rampage using Charging Stance. By holding heavy attack, you enter Charging Stance, and after just 1.5 seconds, you gain the enhanced version of Rodent Rampage. Enhanced Rodent Rampage summons additional rats to attack alongside you, and this buff does not expire, so you can take your time executing the rest of your combo. If you stay in Charging Stance for more than 3 seconds, you begin restoring health, and at 4.5 seconds, you also start restoring chi, although this does consume stamina. To make this setup even stronger and extend the effectiveness of your rats, you'll need the Vendetta Inner Way for Mortal Rope Dart. You obtain it by defeating Murong Yuan, the campaign boss of the second region. Its base effect extends the duration of Vendetta tokens by 5 seconds and restores 20 tokens of gratitude. At Tier 1, Token of Gratitude recovers 30% faster, letting you use Rodent Rampage far more frequently. Tier 3 is where things get wild. Bladebound Thread applies Rodent Hunt for 15 seconds, and when it expires, it deals damage equal to 30% of all damage dealt by rats during that duration. Tier 4 pushes it even further by increasing chi damage caused by rats by 20%. Your full combo rotation works like this. Start by entering Charging Stance to enhance your special skill. After that, use Bladebound Thread to apply the Vendetta token, then immediately activate Rodent Rampage to summon the rats. Switch to Dual Blades and engage using Addled Mind to close the gap or interrupt the target and begin unloading light attacks. If you're comfortable with perfect dodges, prioritize dodging over parrying to trigger Samsara, and then unleash your light attacks for maximum damage. Between light attack strings, weave in Addled Mind and your special skill to interrupt enemies. But always favor light attacks since the rats only attack alongside you during light attacks. You can also use Honking Havoc to trigger the Breath Hold effect, but I strongly recommend saving it for your burst skill window to maximize value. When it comes to Inner Ways, we've already covered 2 of them. For the remaining slots, Morale Chant is an obvious choice for its physical penetration and damage bonuses. The final option I recommend is Fivefold Bleed, which you obtain in the second region by completing the A Faltering Flame Wandering Tale quest. This Inner Way gives all attacks a 10% chance to apply Weeping Blood for 5 seconds, stacking up to 5 times. At 5 stacks, it detonates for piercing damage. Tier 4 increases the proc chance to 15%, and Tier 5 increases critical damage bonus by 3.5%. Breaking Point is also a solid option, but I see its most potential at Tier 6, where perfect dodges grant 5 stacks of disintegration, massively boosting physical penetration and critical damage. At base level, Breaking Point only applies to exhausted enemies, so Fivefold Bleed is the better all-around option unless your focus is purely on exhausted burst damage. For Mystic skills, I primarily use Honking Havoc, Dragon's Breath, and Meridian Touch. Honking Havoc is perfect thanks to its 6-second breath hold effect, which increases to 7.5 seconds at Tier 2, and at Tier 4, it can be cast with only 60 Vitality. Dragon's Breath is a no-brainer for its burn effect, and at Tier 4, it also grants 40% damage reduction while casting. Meridian Touch is excellent for applying Divine Craft and dealing bonus chi damage. Now, let's talk about gear and attributes. Choose the Bamboo Cut path and store your best gear in the arsenal to increase mastery, since higher mastery directly increases your maximum HP. Make sure all your gear slots are enhanced, especially offensive slots, as they have a major impact on your total damage output. For your offensive set, a 4-piece Swallow Call set is ideal. The 2-piece bonus grants min physical attack, while the 4-piece bonus increases light attack damage by 15% against enemies below 40% ki, and adds another 5% against exhausted targets, perfectly synergizing with your burst skill. For defensive gear, I'll be honest, I wasn't lucky with rolls, so I'm using what I have. Ideally though, Eagle Rise is the best defensive set for this build. The 2-piece bonus provides physical defense, and when you deal damage over time, you gain Eagle Rise stacks that reduce damage taken by 1.2% per stack for 10 seconds, stacking up to 5 times. At max stacks, you gain Eagle Guard, which reduces the next incoming hit by 90% or 45% against bosses. This is perfect for situations where you can't wait for exhaustion and need to fight head-on during burst skill windows. On your gear, prioritize Min Bamboo Cut, Min Physical Attack, Agility, Critical Rate, and Affinity Rate. Your martial art talents scale off Agility, Min Bamboo Cut, and Min Physical Attack. Bamboo Cut penetration scales with Min Bamboo Cut, critical damage during burst skill scales with Min Physical Attack, and Min Physical Attack itself scales with Agility. Once your Min Physical Attack requirements are met, you don't need to heavily invest further into Agility. And that's it for this Dual Blades build guide. If you have questions, suggestions, or improvements, drop them in the comments. If this guide helped you, make sure to like the video and subscribe for more builds like this.